Today I'm going to show you how to get the best out of your foam cannon. And in this case I've got a PF22.2, one that we've been using for several years. The other day I actually already replaced the filter on it, so we're going to pretend like this is a brand new unit. It does have a plated steel plug, which I'm going to swap out in a few minutes, but we're going to start from step one. Right now I have about 29 ounces of water in here. So I'm going to put 3 ounces of Performance soap, which is a high concentrate, high foam soap. And we're just going up to this top line right here. Three ounces is equivalent to approximately 80 milliliters. Put our cap on, mix it up. Cap's off, cannon head's on. This is usually a lot more than I typically would use for filling up a bottle because you really don't need to. You know, one vehicle only takes about half a bottle. All right, so we're gonna plug in. I'm already connected to, we've got just our little Karcher 1700 1.2 gallon a minute, which is again the lowest end for what you would want to be using a PF22 at, but there's a lot of people that use the smaller electric units. So we're gonna go over here and film this vehicle so you can see what it would look like under this circumstance. We're doing a one hit or one take on this so that you can see from start to finish. I have my knob cranked all the way to the plus, and I have my fan blades in vertical position. Oof. You can see it's kind of watery. I would not consider that acceptable foam by my standards. So there's two things you can do. You could swap the orifice, you could swap the chemical, or you could do both. Or in this case, we're gonna add a little bit. So we're gonna do that now. We're gonna do one at a time, so you can see the difference that each can make. So to swap your orifice, I'm gonna do that first, and I'm gonna get rid of this plated steel. Let's take our bottle off here. It's a nice thing about doing something in one take. Show people what not to do. And this has been on here for a while, so go one way a little bit, and then it should pop right off. There she goes. And my guess is that it's mostly corroded. You can see it's all black, yep. So when you see this kind of stuff, and I'll come closer here, when you see this, this is what plated steel can do. This is not the foam cannon rusting. This is nickel plated brass from Italy. It's the plated steel plug. So in that case, you'd want to swap out for a stainless, which I've got right here. And here, this is a stock nozzle. It's a 1.25 millimeter that's installed. So we're gonna swap the nozzle first, which you just need a standard screwdriver. And I've got a 1.1 here. This comes in the bag with most foam cannons. When you buy it, it should say it in the description. I'm sorry, with most PF22 with our foam cannons. Can't speak for others. Okay, that's tight. Now, I don't like this thing, so we're gonna swap to a stainless guy. And I believe I've got some Teflon here. So bear with me as I wrap. Left hand. And I go clockwise. It's okay if you got a little tab on there, that's fine. 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason you go 6 is that this is NPT. All of MTM foam cannons are BSP, which is British Standard Pipe. It means it's a straight thread. And I'm going to reinstall. this little guy down. And yes, I'm using a crescent wrench. I know some people don't like it, but I can use it for anything. And no, it's not gonna go all the way in, and it shouldn't. If you're doing that, the stainless or plated steel, whichever plug you're installing, is actually stripping out the brass threads inside. So just go to about halfway, maybe 2/3. So let's see what a simple orifice swap did for our foam production. Everything's good. Start away so it doesn't shoot out. Looks like I turned it when I was installing. Much better. You don't need to have super thick shaving cream foam. If it's too sticky, it won't slide. That defeats the purpose of lubricitous liquids. And you want to have it lubricitous because that means it'll pull the liquid or the debris off the vehicle. It'll pull it down. Then you're not scrubbing it into the vehicle. So we'll do a little bit more. And let's say I want just a little bit thicker. So now you've gotten down to the lowest or the smallest orifice that we offer. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit more water in here, and we're gonna put 1 more ounce of chemical. And in fact, I don't really like to put water in after I've already got liquid in because it sprays everywhere. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna do, instead of 1 ounce, I'm gonna try and do like 0.75, which would be about 20 mils. So it's only a tiny bit. Take this guy off. I'm gonna show you the difference that just, we'll say the equivalent of 1 ounce with a full bottle. So we already did 3, so we're doing 3 3/4 ounces. And each one of these markings on the calibration is 50 mils. So now we went from 750, I gotta go just a little bit more. You can't quite see it there, but we're right at about 750. I'm gonna go another maybe 10 milliliters, which I'm grateful for the calibrations because they definitely help. Screw this guy back on. I cheated on here, so I'm just gonna cover the relief orifice and swirl around a little bit. Normally I would put the cap back on, but we don't have all day. So now we have our stainless plug, which doesn't improve foam, it just limits corrosion. We've got a 1.1 millimeter orifice that probably came in the box with your PF 22.2, and we've added the equivalent of approximately 1 ounce of chemical on top of the 3 that we had. So 3 3/4. Now let's see what happens. Definitely a bit more sticky. I think the biggest difference in this case was probably the orifice, and that's because of the small unit that we're using. So with that in mind, you know, there's a couple of quick changes that you can make with the supplied tools that we have, given the orifice swap, and whatever liquid you're using, make sure it is a high foaming soap, but that's a fast way to get much better foam and a much more satisfying wash.